On 92.3 Nigeria Info, 19 minutes gone past 12. I am Gabriella Anyanwu, welcoming you once again. It's a beautiful day. I am really positive about today. I do hope that it's going to be friendlier weather we'll have today than we did. As always, today we're going to talk about your children's safety. Yes, I know that for many of us, we have a lot of stories to tell. I have a lot of stories to tell about my childhood and how many injuries I sustained as a child. Do you know all of those injuries can actually be avoided, especially those that are not so fortunate, those who eventually lead to the death of your children? Are very avoidable. So we're going to start our conversations today with child safety. How do you ensure the safety of your children around you? How do you ensure that they experience minimal accidents, that they do not sustain as many injuries as you did as a child? I know that right now I still have scars from my childhood, from one race, from one rough play to the other, and I fell or I hurt myself. I mean, we all have stories to tell and scars to remind us of those stories. So we're going to talk about how we can actually protect our children better. That's what we're going to do on this hour. At 1 o'clock, the major news comes up. Right after, we'll have further conversations. We've got a sponsored program on that hour for you as well. At 2 p.m., the news update. And right after that, the Architect's World comes right up. But let's kickstart our conversation today with child safety. You're welcome.
Different ideologies,
different perspectives.
Share your views on the sunny side.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
A clean surrounding is a collective effort.
Diseases could be avoided
with good hygiene practice. Be more responsible with how you dispose waste products. The environment will be better looking without litter and exposed garbage. We love our city clean. This message is from 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Different ideologies,
different perspectives.
Share your views on the sunny side.
92.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
Let's talk.
Welcome back to the show. As you know, as we all know, children are particularly vulnerable to accidents and to sustaining injuries, and their safety requires different approaches, from those for adults. And as far back as the early 21st century, approximately 1 million children across the world died every single year from accidental injuries, which is about 95% of those injury-related deaths taking place in the low and middle-income countries. In our homes, imagine 1 million children dying from little injuries sustained in accidents. Now, in most industrialized countries, unintentional injury is the number one cause of death among children, and that's why today we'll be starting our conversation with how to better provide safety for our children. I've got a guest joining me on the show today. She is a social development strategist with a specialty in creating products, programs, and providing policy advisory on pressing developmental issues affecting young Africans. Her major work pillars are around ensuring child safety, reducing substance abuse in youth and providing strategy for social impact initiatives. Welcome to the show, Ugochi Obidiegwu. Thank you so much for making time to join me.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
All right, let's begin the conversation with what is child safety?
So in my own opinion, in my own words, child safety is basically about ensuring that the child is free from harm, injury in their environment.
Right. And why would you say child safety is such an important conversation to have right now, especially in Nigeria?
Okay, so it's really important because no matter how much you love your child, you will not be with your child 24/7. And many times there are things in the environment, there are people in the environment, there are environments that just present harm to these children. So if we are not intentional about ensuring that the environment is free from harm, if we are not intentional about educating the children on how to manage when they find themselves in unsafe situations, what would happen is we're going to keep hearing bad news. And many times the bad news we hear in terms of safety affecting children, there are things that could have been avoided. So it's really important that we go the extra mile to ensure that our children are safe.
Now, let's talk about that extra mile you talk about. What are some of the things, the safety measures that parents, let's begin the conversation from parents, and then we obviously transition to every other individual. What are some of those measures that parents need and must put in place to ensure safety of their children, to reduce, sustaining injuries and being parts of accidents and all?
Okay, so first off, I would just say that parents need to look around their home and do what we would call a risk assessment. Now, many times you might need a safety professional to do certain things for you, but just at the basic level, when you are doing a risk assessment, you're looking around the house to see what are the hazards. What is a hazard? A hazard is anything with a potential to cause harm.
Right.
So when you are looking around your home and you're asking yourself, in this house now, what can cause harm to children? Do we have maybe glass center table pieces? Do we have sharp corners on various parts of the house? Do we have handrails on our stairs? Because many times, a lot of parents, bring beautiful things into the home. These things are beautiful, but they are not functional. So the first step for any parent is just look around your house and be honest in your assessment. What can cause harm here? Aside the what are the things we do that seem natural but can cause harm? So, for example, maybe a parent trying to put something in an electrical socket, and then you're using something to depress, and your child sees you doing that. They don't know you as an adult, you understand conductors and all those sort of stuff, you know what to put and what not to put. But your child doesn't know that. All the child is that they saw you putting something there. So while they are bored, they also want to go and put something there. You see what I mean? And also, if you take it to the kitchen, where lots of times we like to cook with the front burners, you see. But if we were not paying attention and a child came into that place, the child could maybe pull on the pot handle, and if it is hot and the child maybe could just feel on the child. So when I'm talking about risk assessment, you're looking around your house, you're identifying what are the things that can possibly cause harm. What do we do that can possibly cause harm, and then how can we manage it? Now, after doing that, the next you now ask them, so how do we now increase the knowledge of the people around? Because when people know what to do, to some extent, it is better. I always say it is better to have knowledge and not use it than need that knowledge and not have it. So after your risk assessment, you have to now bring in training into the mix. So everybody in the house needs to get trained. The children, the adults in the house, they need to know what they're supposed to do in different situations. I've been talking for a while now about what I call family safety meetings, which basically is just an opportunity for parents to, to bond with their children and use that bonding opportunity to teach on an aspect of safety. If, for example, this week you taught your children on preventing substance abuse, next week you taught them on fire safety, or probably to teach them about preventing sexual molestation.
Right.
The next one you teach them about fashion. You see, over the next quarter, you will have taught them everything. So you start with that honest risk assessment, then you equip with knowledge, and then, of course, after equipping with knowledge, then you have to keep doing what I call periodic drills. So from time to time, you just ask them, if you find yourself in this situation, what would you do? And then being very intentional about the things that you bring into your home. Because again, as people grow, maybe for example, you're living in a flat before and all was well and good. You've done your safety system, everything is working. And then next week, because things are not moving so fine for your family, you're moving your family to a duplex, there is a swimming pool. You've got to do that risk assessment again. You've got to put systems. You've got to just ensure that the new thing that you're bringing into your family for comfort does not cause harm. But for people, they may introduce pets into their home. If you would not have pets before, having a pet constitutes a hazard. So how are you going to ensure that it doesn't cause harm to your children? So these are just basic things that if we were to start doing them intentionally, doing our own findings also, you see that to some extent parents will protect their children at home.
Now, what are some of the most common accidents that children are exposed to, especially in the home?
In the home, they have falls. Falls is really common. It could be falling from a height or falling on the same surface. They're falling from a height, maybe they climb, they try to reach something, but they are not using the right lifting material to carry themselves. Because if for example you try to climb to a height, so you're not using the right lifting material. If that one leg, for example, is not stable, it means that thing is going to, you're going to fall basically. So many times you see that happen in the house when are trying to climb something, so they are not balanced, and then it leads to maybe the cabinet falling or them getting injured, and then fall on the surface. They could sleep on the wet floor. And that's why you must always teach when there is a skill, claim immediately. Stop waiting for someone else to do it when you can do it immediately. Because when you take your attention away from it, somebody else could have an accident from it. So there is cuts. Cuts can happen because they are playing with sharp objects, they are playing rough at home, and all that. Then there is hot fluid. Hot fluid is another one because many times you don't make water in the bathroom for them to bathe, and children put their hand inside. A friend reached out to say she just put the bucket of hot water just to turn around. Her son had put his leg inside the bucket of hot water. And you're wondering, why would the child do something like that? But we have to also understand that children, when they are young, they're just adventurous. They're trying all sorts of stuff. So it's our place to just, always go the extra mile, always think ahead. What could possibly go wrong in that situation? Then there is taking poisoning from maybe drugs, cosmetics, and poor labeling of fluids in the home. So many times, people use a container of something harmful to put something good. Or, it's just by the plant. When children see all these colorful bottles, they are attracted to it. Meanwhile, the content is not what they're supposed to be purchased. So putting bleach, for example, in a transparent water bottle, many of all these cleaning things become all these attractive and colorful containers. So, and the shapes are also attractive to children, So we've got to be really intentional about that. Our medicine cabinet should be out of reach of the children. Our cosmetics, many of them smell fruity, they look attractive. The children want to even start eating them. I mean, it's smelling strawberry, right? So they want to eat it.
Right.
So we really got to be mindful about that because it could lead to poisoning. Then, abuse also happens in the home. It could happen from the staff, or it could be from an elder family member that lives with the family. So if we teach our children the markers and make our children comfortable to tell us when something is going wrong, if any of all those adults or people around them, maybe neighbors, staff in the home, or a family member begins to trespass, they can report. Because it's always better to leave these things in the bud.
Right. Now, let's talk about the sole responsibility for child safety. Would you say that lies on the shoulders of the parents, or is that a responsibility for every adult around these children?
It's a combined, concerted effort, because, like I mentioned earlier, no matter how much you love your child, you will not be with them 24/7. So if you are not with your child, will another adult be responsible enough to say something when they see something going wrong? Or they say, no, it's not my child. No, you shouldn't do that. So it's actually a concerted effort. We need our parents involved. We need our teachers, our school owners involved. We need members of the society involved. We need government, by putting the right structures in place to ensure that if somebody does something wrong to a child, they are penalized and then use as an example for other people, so that people will desist from performing such acts. So it's really a combination. We need all stakeholders to work together. One, I say primarily the parents. Even when the parent is not, there will be other adults around be responsible to say something. I give an example some weeks ago of how someone else saw a child crying with an adult, and she was worried that this doesn't look right. And it was because she spoke up that the child now said, I don't know this person. Actually, the child was about to be abducted. So if that one had done, oh, it's not my teacher, don't need to blame, that would have been a problem. I'm also aware of the situation where a little girl went to the supermarket to buy something, and then there was this man there, after seeing that there was nobody, and after trying to talk to the girl, trying to be friendly, wanting to buy her stuff. And about that time, another mature lady came into that supermarket, and she noticed what was going on, that this guy started trying to groom this girl by trying to buy something. And she just said, young lady, at this age time, I start to him now. Now, for the little girl, she might feel that auntie is harsh. But that auntie, because she's mature and she sees the signs, she's trying to protect that girl. If she does, it's not my business. That can lead to a problem. So everyone really has to take responsibility. When you see something wrong, say something, do something.
Right. Well, you can be a part of the conversation. I would like for you to call in, send a message, however you want to participate in the conversation. Let's talk about how you ensure the safety of the children around you. Are there particular things that you do? Is there a habit or a culture that you have of ensuring that the kids around you, be them your biological children, be them your nephews or nieces, be them just your neighbor's kids, however you relate to the children, what do you do to ensure their safety? 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, 0817 923 0007, or 0817 923 0009. That's the female line. And you can join the conversation via WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is 0809 030 6416. On Twitter and Facebook, we're streaming live, so you can watch as you comment. On Twitter at Nigeria Info PH, on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. Now, let me come back to you, Ms. Ugochi. What challenges would you say there are, if any, to ensuring child safety, especially with the peculiarity of the Nigerian environment?
So the first one is we have a religious mentality to everything. I believe in God, and I know that God protects, but I also know that God expects us to be responsible. Right. So many times, a lot of people are not taking precaution because they feel, God forbid, it's not my portion. God forbid, or it's not my portion, is not a strategy. You've got to be intentional. You've got to learn as a parent, then equip your child, then put things around your home to ensure that they are protected. Yes, when you do all that, God will forbid. But if you don't even make an effort, you are just putting your child in more danger. So that's one of the major challenges that we have here, because people just want to spiritualize everything as opposed to being putting systems in place. Then another thing that we have is people always want to take the cheap way. They want to get it for free, or they want to basically get it for free. Now the truth is, you don't know something, and someone knows that thing better than you. Right? So you've got to be willing to pay to access the service that you need. If you need to buy a fire extinguisher, if you need to get a safety professional to come and assess your home and put it and install it in the right places, then by all means do it. It's not enough for you to just buy the extinguisher, then you go and put it in one corner without even knowing that there's a way to put a fire extinguisher in a location. For example, a fire extinguisher is supposed to be hidden. It's supposed to be placed in such a location that it is visible and it's accessible to be used in case of an emergency. The many times you go to some supermarket and you are looking for where the fire extinguisher. I went to a supermarket one day actually, and I asked where's the fire extinguisher. We looked for it before we found where it was hidden under one shelf somewhere. In an emergency, we don't remember it's there. So in a bid to cut costs or not pay for services that you need, you end up endangering yourself. So please be willing to pay. Yes, I know that you might say, oh, safety seems expensive. But if an accident were to happen, you will see that it's actually more expensive to manage the fallout of an accident as opposed to making the safe choice from the beginning. So those are the two major challenges that we face, because spiritualizing and then not wanting to pay for the service and trying to do things by themselves without getting adequate knowledge.
And how do you think that we can begin to, break that glass ceiling that religious beliefs or sentiments has built over the years?
So I would say that our religious centers, places of worship, can also help with this, because we operate in a part of the world where people believe what comes from the pulpit more than what another person is saying. So since that influence is there, I think that influence can be leveraged for good. So teach about things that, this is what is going on in society. As a parent, you must be responsible. You should be able to do this. You should be able to get information from city professionals. In fact, you can even invite city professionals to your places of worship to share with them, because all you just need is that opening to create that awareness. And when people get it, they are willing to run with it. Organizations too should also get involved. Don't just say, they have to be doing this. From time to time, invite city professionals to your organization to do training, knowledge sharing sessions with your staff. If somebody was to collapse around the staff in the office, we don't know what to do. Invite a city professional to come and teach your staff on first aid. Because that, I will always say this, it's better to have the knowledge and not need it than need it and not have it. And then, of course, the media also has to help with share information. Maybe we need to be able to have 50 segments either on radio, on TV, and it should be something that is done almost every day, because we have to be intentional about ingraining that safety consciousness in the heart and mind of our people. What this means is, because we are hearing it from several locations, we now begin to think, okay, how do I do this in my house? How do I localize this to fit my own home context? And then because it becomes almost natural to us to make safety, take safety considerations when making any decision in our homes. Otherwise, people just think, safety is just far out there, it's just for oil and gas, it's just for aviation, it's just for construction. But that is not true. It's for all of us, because accidents can happen anywhere, anytime, and in any type of job.
Right. All right. We'll take a few comments now on WhatsApp. You remember, you can join the conversation by sending in your thoughts. The number to send your WhatsApp message to is 0809-030-6416. On Facebook at Nigeria Info PH. On Twitter at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. All right. So on WhatsApp, we do have a few messages. Okay. Aminu, I'm right here. I wonder why you're asking after me. Anyway, this says, good afternoon. My name is Chinedu from Rumaolu. Please, a question to your guest. How do you control children who are rough? By that, I mean children who play rough play. How do you control them to reduce them sustaining injuries, especially at home? All right, Ms. Ugochi.
Okay, so I would say education, and then a system of monitoring. Education in the sense that we've got to educate them and say, okay, so when you play like this is what happens. And you can actually make education interesting with using pictures, using videos. Educate and say, so when you play like this, these are the likely things that can happen. If this and this happens, this is what, show the truth. So, for example, you could say, if you're, let's say, they're playing rough, and say, when you play like this, you can break your leg. Now, when you break your leg, this means you have to stay in the hospital for this period, and your leg is going to be put in a cast so that your bones can stretch, and that takes a while. Now, when that takes a while and you're hospitalized, you're going to miss school because you'll not be able to go to class. And now this means your parents are going to be spending so much money to do this for you. Now, maybe this money we could have used it to do so and so for you, but because now we're spending it in the hospital because we want you to stay alive, we're not going to do it. Run them through a path. Share a story with them. I'm not saying you should inspire fear, but the point is that children understand. Many times we treat them like they're so small, they don't understand. But have an honest heart-to-heart conversation with them and say, this is what can likely happen, and we don't want this to happen, and these are the implications. So it's not enough to end it at just having that conversation. Then you've got to put rules in place. If someone breaks the rule, what would be the penalty? If someone takes the rule, what would also be the penalty?
Right.
So that you begin to create that, should I say, monitoring to ensure that you keep the rules that you're putting in place.
All right. Now, this would be perhaps my final question, because we're running out of time. What are the child safety principles that a person, an individual, an adult should know? What are some of the child safety principles that every adult should know?
That every girl,
Every adult.
every adult should know. How do I explain this now? So I'll just say that first off, there are many. Okay, I'm trying to see how to decide because there are many things that we should learn because before, let me say prior to COVID, online safety was an issue, right? The people did not really take it as seriously. But
Right.
when COVID happened and almost everybody had to do everything online, people started to see all the threats with being online. And so education had to start happening for the children so that the children do not inadvertently put something on their parents' device that could make sure that their parents' identity is stolen. So that's just giving an example of how there are many subjects and there are many subjects and then you might not be able to say there's not going to be like an exhaustive list. But I will just say that first things first, you must ensure that anything you want to do, if you are involved in taking care of children, you've got to ask yourself, is harm going to come to a child because they are in this space? What can cause that harm? How can we prevent it from happening? Because there's what we call in safety the hierarchy of control. So when you say something can cause harm to a child, you say, okay, is it possible for it to be eliminated? If it cannot be totally eliminated, is it possible for it to be substituted? If it cannot be substituted, is it possible for it for administrative control to be put so that you can reduce the amount of exposure, the amount of time that will be spent with that thing? Is it possible that maybe we have PPE, we have PPE with personal protective equipment? It's possible that we're going to have things that will create a barrier between the individual and that situation so that harm doesn't necessarily come to that child. So every time you have to make a decision, bring something to your home, organize something for children, you've got to ask yourself, what could possibly go wrong here? What can we do to ensure that it doesn't happen? And when we are able to put that in, when we're able to always think like that, it's easy to highlight the problem and then look for opportunities to control it.
Right. Ms. Ugochi, thank you so much for your time. I do appreciate you sparing off your schedule to be a part of this conversation. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Ugochi Obidiegwu is a social development strategist, and she also has her major work pillars around ensuring child safety. Well, for the next few minutes that we have left for the conversation, I'd like to hear your thoughts. How do you ensure safety of the children around you? What do you do? How do you ensure that you have your eyes all around your children all the time? As impossible as that may sound, do you have measures put in place to ensure that your children are protected and their tendency or potential to fall prey to accidents, be it in school, be it at home, and wherever they might be, and sustaining injuries as well, is reduced? I'd like to hear your thoughts. 0817 923 0002, 0817 923 0003, 0817 923 0007, or 0817 923 0009. On WhatsApp, it's 809 030 6416. On Twitter and Facebook, we are streaming live, so you can go watch as you comment on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3ph, on Twitter at Nigeria Info PH. On Facebook now, Corner Doba says, good afternoon, I'm Koibari Doba. By not allowing them to fight, and secondly, due to the condition of our country now, parents should take care, so you mean to say proper care of their children. Thank you very much for that. He sends that twice. Thank you so much for your thoughts. All right, to the phone lines now. Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. Back. Hello. All right, let's head on out to WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, this says, hello Gabby, good afternoon. One thing I ensure to do is never leave them alone. I make sure that even though I'm not at home or my husband is not around, I have my friend or my sister putting an eye on them. Thank you very much, Mrs. Chijiechi. Pardon me for not pronouncing your name correctly, but thank you so much for sending that in from Ramosi. All right, and this says, hello Gabby, by ensuring that they are never alone. All right, that's another one coming from Ibili. And this says, hello Gabby, good afternoon. I ensure that I'm always with my children when they're not in school. And when they're what? I don't quite get it. Anyway, thank you so much for your thoughts. How do you ensure that you are protecting your children from any kind of harm? Now, it may be impossible. It is impossible to always be with your children 24/7 because you have to work. You have to go to the market. You have to go to church. You have to attend to your business. You have to do other things with your life. So at times where you and your kids are not together, how do you ensure that your children are protected? Do you have safer furniture? What exactly do you do? I'd like to hear it. 30002, the numbers to call, that is 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0007, or 0817-923-0009. That is the female line. You can also join a conversation via WhatsApp. The WhatsApp number is 0809 0306416, 0903064416. On Twitter at Nigeria Info PH, on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. All right, one message here says I'm Emekus. What am I getting all of Emekas today? Emekus from London. He says, one way I ensure the safety of my children, especially when is making sure that I put someone in charge of them and never leaving them alone. All right, Emekus, thank you so much for sharing that. When you do call, turn on the volume on your radio. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Now, I ensure the safety of my children. I work, my wife also works. So what I do is, if I take them to school in the morning, I go to my office, my wife goes to her own office, I bring them back to school, from school into the house. There is a home teacher, there's a phone, a cell phone I draw for them. I communicate with them on at least 30 minutes. After I do their homework until mommy comes back. Then the family is serious. If not, if you let them loose, they can play and enjoy themselves. And I also make sure that my house is fenced and protected. So these are another strategies I use to keep my children safe. I have 4, 2 boys and 2 girls.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Have a great afternoon. All right, to take a final call, 0817-923-923-0003, 0817-923-0007, and the female line 0817-923-0009. How do you ensure that your children are safe? How do you keep them safe? Good afternoon. All right. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. All right, I lost that. We'll take a final message right now on WhatsApp. On WhatsApp, this says, hello Gabby, my name is okay, I don't quite get that name, but it says, one way I ensure my cousins are safe because I am the one who takes care of them when their parents go out is ensuring that they don't play rough play. So when I see that they want to play, I make them sit down or the or the taste of my bulala. All right, children need play as well. I mean, it's just to find a way to put a balance to it all. Anyway, thank you so much for sharing that. A final message on Facebook is from Alera Rupi Okwebo, who says, hello Gabby, I turn the handle of pots and pans to the side while cooking. Electric sockets are covered with a socket cover. Harmful liquid like bleach are kept far beyond their reach. Medicines are kept in a securely locked cupboard. I'm reaching out from Manchester in the UK. Very interesting things that you mentioned, Alera. Really glad that you could share that with us as we wrap the conversation up. Turning the handles of your pots and pans to the side while you're cooking because they have the tendency to be hot. So electric sockets covered with a socket cover. That's something that I think many households do not pay attention to. You know, you can cover your sockets with a socket cover to ensure your children do not mistakenly or playfully go insert something in there and get burnt, as it were. Harmful liquid like bleach, like your detergent, like your liquid soap. I remember a story of a baby. Now, this happened in my church many years ago. Now, this baby was a pastor's child, and he was probably a couple of months old, I think. According to the story we were told in church, the baby died and went to do something or get something, I don't know. And the child was left alone in the parlor with that relaxer on the center table. The baby crawled all the way to the table, all feasted on it. The child died. So there are certain things that as parents you need to really pay attention to ensure that, you know, your child is safe, as much as you protect them from harm. You protect them from the rain, you protect them from ailments by, you know, giving them the right meal, giving them healthy foods to eat and clean water. As you do all of that, it's also important that you protect them from sustaining injuries at home and running or having accidents in the house as well. Well, on that note, I wrap up the conversation. At 1 o'clock, the news update comes up, and right after, we've got sponsored programs coming all the way to 2 p.m. And I believe at 2, the news update kicks in, and right after, Architect's World. I'm Gabriella. Thank you for making this a worthy conversation.